Hello, everybody. This is Diana from Sew in Common. It's our April live event. I'm just trying to bring up comments here. So we'll wait just a couple of moments, let everybody pop on. And when you do, type in, let us know where you're viewing from today, because I love hearing from all of you. I'm just trying to bring up my Facebook page so I can see if we have people on over there. I can see comments here on my screen, but I can't actually see like people that are popping on. So let's just do that. I hope everybody has had a great week. It's been busy here at Sew in Common, I can tell you for sure. We've got lots going on. I have a lot to share with you today. Okay, good. I do see us over there. Great. Just type in, let us know where you're from. And so we know that you're watching. And today is our live event. So you can ask your questions about this month's free blocks of the month, or any of the projects we've been doing, anything that we've been doing so far in 2023. Or if you have a random question, you can ask that too. And I'll try to answer them best I can. But it is our April, let's see, it's our April live Q&A. So I did not receive any questions in advance this month, which is fine. That's fine. You don't have to send them in advance. You can save them all for today and just ask them live. So I've prepped a few things. So we might not go very long today. It just really depends on all of you, the things that you're burning to know, if you have any burning questions or not. And then I have prepared a few things to show you. I've prepared some more blocks to show you. I told you, I think last week's video, that I was going to show you some blocks this week that I've made from this month's pattern, so that you can see those, maybe get you more inspired. And I'll tell you more about what's going on. Let's go back to our comments. There we go. Alrighty. I don't see anybody popping in yet that you're here, but that could be, there could be that little bit of a lag. Who knows, right? You never know. So I'll give you a weather report from our area of Illinois. We went from being in the 80s to being under a freeze warning because we're down in the high 20s and low 30s again. The weather is so stinking crazy. Oh my gosh. And boy, have the allergies already kicked in for my husband and I. I hope if you all are allergy sufferers, you're doing okay. But I know a lot of the country has been having lots of weather issues. So I hope everybody's safe and sound. I've been doing some great quilting. Okay, so let's see here. Alrighty, so we'll go ahead and get started again. Welcome everybody to our April live Q&A. Got lots to share with you today. So why don't, the first thing, while we're waiting for more people to come in, why don't we, excuse me, my eyes itch a little bit, allergies. Why don't we talk about this month's block for a moment? So for any of you that are new or haven't joined us before, let me just say, all of our blocks of the month are free. The patterns are free for all of 2023. And they're all made pieced on your embroidery machine, maybe with a little bit of finishing on the sewing machine, but you don't need things like the 1/4 inch foot and all that kind of stuff, because you'll have a sewing guideline right in the pattern to help you stitch things together. Because this year we are kind of working on these big, beautiful jumbo blocks, 15 by 15 inches. They're kind of all the rage in quilts right now. And I thought, well, why don't we do that this year? Because also doing a bigger block is a little bit easier for folks that are new to quilting. Excuse me again. Oh, I have to put eye drops in, I think. But it's a little bit easier for newer quilters, or for quilters who may have a little arthritis or problems with their hands. Sometimes working with bigger blocks can be a little bit easier. And then there are bonus videos throughout the year where we're going to work on smaller ones, things like that. But I thought that might be helpful for all of you. So this year we're kind of doing the bigger blocks. Anyway, all of those are free over at our website. They'll all say block of the month on them, and you'll know those, and they'll say free or no charge or whatever on them. Okay, so I wanted to let you all know about that. But let's talk about April, because April was my birthday month. And so I wanted to give you lots of blocks this month, kind of lots of bonus stuff that you can play with, because as you're building up these free blocks, you're also building up an inventory of pieces that you can use to piece other quilts of your own. So that's also the intention of our block of the month this year. So it was the Ohio Star. That was the main one. This is one version of the Ohio Star, like I've told you before, but it's probably the Ohio Star that everyone recognizes right off the bat. Oh, that's an Ohio Star. It is part of the family of stars called 8-point stars. That's really what we're talking about this month, is the 8-point star, and we led off with the Ohio Star. And I think it's a beautiful star. It has a lot going for it, because if you're someone who also likes to applique, your center is a perfect place for applique. You wouldn't necessarily need to do an applique in every single block that you do, but if you wanted to scatter applique throughout your block, then it would be a perfect block for that. And I kind of did mine in a real scrappy look. You can also do them in a real, like, 2 colors or 3 color look to kind of correlate all of your colors together in one curated fabric collection. If you wanted to do that, you could do all kinds of stuff with that. So that was the first block. The block of the month was the Ohio Star. Now I'm just gonna take this down. Whew, I did that without knocking anything over. Pat myself on the back for that, because I was like, earlier I dumped everything off of my little stand here. It was kind of bad. So then on week 2, let me get my little pointer here. On week 2, we did the Sawtooth Star, which is another 8-point star. Again, it's one that you can do in just a couple of colors or lots of different colors. I used a collection of Moda Grunge on mine, which I love that fabric. I could use it for everything. And so I used all these different pinks to reds. So the lightest pink to the darkest red I used on making my Sawtooth Star. And the difference between this and the Ohio Star is the center. The center is 4 different blocks. It can be 4 different colors, or it could be 2 colors, or it could be all the same color as these star points. Whatever you like, whatever works with the fabric that you have or the collection that you're going to make works perfectly. Just checking over there again. Oops, there we go. And so that was our second star, and that is our supplement B. So when you look for the Sawtooth Star, it'll say April block of the month. It'll say Sawtooth Star in there, but you'll also see the word supplement B, because this is how this works. You get all the information you need to make all of these squares in that first pattern, the Ohio Star. And then I put out supplements for these other blocks, and the supplements basically give you the ingredients and stuff that you need to know for this particular block. But you use the same digital files from that first block of the month pattern. So our third week of the month we called it the Inspired Star, because you really should go back and watch last week's video if you haven't already on the Inspired Star, the April block of the month, week 3, because you might call this a Lemoyne Star. You might call it a Puritan Star. You might call it a Hunter Star. You might call it, the one I liked was the Lemon Star. So go back and watch that third video and see all the different names, just like part of them. This naming of this block is so controversial, and I tell you all about the angle business, because there's a whole story about Lemoyne stars have specific angles and blah, blah, blah. And I'll tell you about that in that video as well. So we just called it the Inspired Star because it's a beautiful star, and it can inspire really beautiful quilts. And people have been inspired about it throughout its history. So go back and take a look at that video to know more about the Inspired Star, because I really love that one. And by calling it the Inspired Star, I even told you this last week, we've accidentally given it a whole nother name. So, that's how easy it is to add names to these blocks. all the time. So those were our 3 main blocks. There were a couple of other supplemental blocks this month that were free, that can be made with just the solid square and the half square triangle, because that's what all of these have in common. They are all created with I'm just going to put this guy back up here. They're all made with a half square triangle and a solid square. So all of those 8-point stars have that in common, the ones that we did this month. So I hope that you'll grab all those patterns while you can. And if for some reason, I should let you all know this, if for some reason you go to get it and it says sold out or not in stock or something like that, I will get a message when that happens. And as soon as I see it, I might not see it the second they send it to me, but I check throughout the day. As soon as I see it, I'll go back into my website and I'll repopulate it with more digital patterns for you. Okay. So even if that happens, you won't have to wait long. And I have it set up that you should get a message when it's been restocked. If you don't, just like look later that day or the next day and it'll be back in there if it had been out of stock. So those are the 3 main ones. We had a couple of more. We did one that was a big, beautiful pieced heart. I did that one especially because I did it from Amy Smart's Notting Hill fabric collection, because all of our good friends in the UK have a coronation day coming up on the 6th of May. And I thought they might like to, since it's a bigger star or a bigger pattern, it's 15 by 15. I thought they might like that to make some banners and stuff out of a pretty kind of a patriotic for the UK kind of fabric, which is what Amy Smart's Notting Hill collection is all about. It's a beautiful collection. When it came out, I bought yards and yards and yards of all the prints. So you will see it throughout my quilts and stuff as we go, because I just loved it. And Amy has a great story. She lived in the Notting Hill area for a while. I have dozens of just really friends, sisters of my heart over in the UK. And I love all things UK as well. Although I am not British by descent. I'm Irish and I'm Welsh. And so, I mean, you might say, well, they're part of the UK, but their history, their long history, is not quite the same. So our family don't consider ourselves English, I guess you could say. We're Irish and Welsh, and then we're also Native American. So just a little bit of everything. Anyway, I love that collection from Amy. So, and I'm pretty sure you can still find it as well. So you can take a look for that. Amy Smart's Notting Hill collection. That's her collection. Alrighty, so those were our 3, and we're going to talk about the quilt I put together, the quilt pattern I put together for you all. But I'm going to hold off on that a little bit because I want to show you some of these other blocks that might inspire you for that quilt. So we're going to hold off on that for a moment, and I'm going to bring out my camera because one thing you might have noticed in all of our blocks so far this year, they all have a half square triangle in them. And I've said this before, the half square triangle is truly the most basic and most often used individual square in a quilt block. I mean, we use them all the time. So understanding how to make this, and of course we're making them in the hoop of our embroidery machine, and they're super simple. Understanding how to make this is really important, regardless of how you piece your quilt, because it is such a basic block. You really need to. And by now, if you've been following us so far this year for the block of the month, you're pretty much an expert at the good old half square triangle. If you're new to us, pick up those block of the month patterns. You'll become a pro really quickly because it is something that we've made every single month in some form or another. Now, that's the most basic one. But this week, I'm going to have a new video coming out for you guys. And it is going to be on making what I call an offset half square triangle. There is really no name I found in any of my research or literature. And I've been quilting, like I said, over 50 years. I've never heard this particular block given a name. So I call it the offset half square triangle. Because if we made a line from this point to this point, and this was all white and this was all this print, it would be a traditional half square triangle. All I've done is I've moved this other part of the triangle down. So you have more fabric here in your print and less in your solid or your print that reads as solid. So this video is coming out this week, and I'm excited for you all to see this because you can do a lot with it in your quilts. It works great as a filler block. It works great in corners. It makes little on-point diamonds that can be randomly placed throughout your quilt. So it's a great block to learn how to do. And it's simple. It's as simple pretty much as your half square triangle. We just cut this base fabric a little bit differently, but all that instruction and all will come out in this week's bonus video for you, because speaking of videos, this is the 4th week of the month today. We'll remove that. But we have a 5th Sunday in April. And so the 5th Sunday in April videos are always going to be kind of a mystery for you guys. I'm not going to tell you what they're going to be about. They're not going to really have anything to do with the block of the month for that particular month, nor will they have anything to do with the next block of the month. And you guys are going to love May's block of the month. I know you are, because it is, I'll just give you a hint. It is one of the most traditional blocks we ever do. But we're going to be using it differently than what you might have seen, how you might have seen it used in the past. So stay tuned for our first block, for our May block of the month. You guys are going to love it. And it's also a block that works great with scraps too. I'll tell you that, scrappy fabric. So you guys will love it. But for next Sunday's video that comes out, we always have basically a block of the month video, but on the 5th week, we call it the mystery video. I'm going to be talking to you about another way to piece one of the blocks we've learned how to make on our embroidery machine. So that's just a little hint, a whole different way to do it, but it has nothing to do with the block of the month. So it's just a little teaser. It's a mystery. So hope you will watch next Sunday for sure. Okay. So, and then this week we're going to be doing this little guy, this offset half square triangle, which I love doing this. Again, this offset is a great way to use some scraps up, especially for this part. And you can do all of these different colored, or you can do them all the same color. So you get like one solid color diamond in a square when you piece them. So anything like that at all. So welcome in, friends. I see a few friends joining in. Thank you so much for joining us today for our April live Q&A. Like I said, I didn't get any questions in advance on for the Q&A, but that's okay. If you guys have them, you can start popping them in and we'll get to them as well. And if we don't have questions for this month, I understand, because last month for March, on the very day we were supposed to do this, I had to call and type in and let you all know that we weren't doing it because my husband was in the hospital, in ICU actually. The ICU was a monitoring thing because of some medication they had to give him for the condition that we thought was going on, which apparently wasn't. They aren't quite sure exactly what happened, but it was very serious. Scared the life out of me, truly. But you all were so kind and warm and caring. And that's what quilters are, you guys. You're always like that. So your support meant your support, just your notes and all of encouragement kept me going that whole week, because he was in the hospital for about 3 or 4 days. Let's see, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, most of Tuesday. So about 3.5 to 4 days he was in the hospital. So then we've started the catch up for April. We got through April, but I just appreciate it. So I know that if you guys didn't send in questions so far for April, you might be catching up too, because if I'm late on something, that's going to make you guys late on something. And for that, I do apologize. But let's move on to something else that I showed you. I put out a video for this week. We're going to go back to our camera, and that is cross stitching with your embroidery machine. Now, some of you guys, good grief, you guys loved this, and I'm so glad that you did. And you can get this little heart pattern out on the website, sewuncommon.com. It's just a couple of dollars for the pattern and the instructions. And watch the video that I did on this, because it's how to cross stitch with your embroidery machine. Because if you love cross stitch, and that's the one thing I know, quilters love to do other types of fabric art and needle art as well. And one of my favorites has always been cross stitch, but I just don't have time to do it by hand anymore. But doing it on your embroidery machine, super simple. So I have this really just basic little heart out there. A lot of you are enjoying it. I also showed you this. Now, some of you asked, gosh, will you put out the butterfly? We love the butterfly. Well, yes and no. This butterfly, I used a piece of clip art to create this butterfly, but I don't have the rights to the clip art insofar as I can't sell my cross stitch pattern from it. But never fear. I'm going to come up with a butterfly for you all, and it'll even be better than this butterfly. Okay, so never worry. However, I will tell you this. There probably won't be new cross stitch designs until July. And that is because in June, we have our new product coming out, which is our Quilt Block Basics. And last time we talked about that, there's actually an ongoing contest for you guys to help name it. So it's going to be the basic blocks in sets in different sizes. The first set is going to be all about the half square triangle and all kinds of sizes and other blocks in that. So there's going to be a few of them in the basic set one. And I've received a few people have sent me info on names, but I'm still collecting them until probably about the middle of May, because I'll need to be able to get everything to the printer and stuff like that and get things going for them to come out in June. Because as quilters, you all have this, although this was in my plan for years now, a lot of you asked me all the way back in January, Diana, are you ever going to put out sets of blocks so that we can make our own quilts and all? And the answer to that is yes. It just takes some time for me to get all of them done, because I have to create each size. I have to test each size. I have to write up instructions, you know, all of that stuff, right? So they're coming. The first set is coming in June. And I know that you guys that have been asking for it are going to love it. And that you guys that haven't asked for it are going to love it too, because it's going to help you to be able to take pretty much any quilt pattern that you see out there, you know, traditional quilt patterns, and make them all by piecing them on your embroidery machine. And I know that that's what we do here at Sew Uncommon, because that was something that a lot of you wanted to. So stay tuned, but leave those names in the comments. So we've seen things like quick quilt blocks. That's a great one. Quilt block basics. That was another good one that came in. I've been thinking about this idea of quilt with me, the ME being machine embroidery, and then quilt block basics, something like that. So we will be picking the name sometime in May, but you can still, any video you watch, pop in that name. Just say, you know, this is for naming the set, because there's going to be a giveaway and stuff like that for whoever happens to get their name chosen for that set. Okay. And so the cross stitch will come out. So I'll get a new pattern out for you guys in July sometime. Okay. And why not? We'll just do it. We'll just say it'll be the butterfly, because that's the one you guys have been asking me about, is the butterfly. So we'll get that one out there for you. All right, you guys, are you ready to see some more blocks made from this month's block of the month? I hope they inspire you. As I said, I have just piles and piles of orphan blocks that I've made. And these are blocks that are half square triangle and the square. And most of them are different, are these 3 blocks in different colorways. And I wanted to do that to inspire you on your own. So let's flip back over again. Now, you might not see the whole block because of the camera and all that, but you'll see most of it. So this is, of course, our first one, the Ohio Star. And again, I did this one kind of scrappy, in so much that I used 3 fabrics and then a background fabric. And I made my center diamond in a square here. I made it so that it matched the background fabric. And these were just scrap fabrics. These aren't from the same collection. I don't even know who the designers on these fabrics are anymore. But I just kind of love this one. It looks like chicken scratch to me, like little chicken feet. So I loved that one for the background. And then I just kind of chose colors that went with it, all kind of bright colors for this one. And made my Ohio Star with that one. So what do you guys think about that one? I kind of like that one a lot. Alrighty, so we'll pull that one over here. And here is another one that is our Sawtooth Star. Now, what do you think about this one? Because what I've done here with the Sawtooth Star is I've actually made my 4 center blocks match the fabric in the star point that it touches. So this one touches this star point, so I made them the same here and here. And I just chose these 2 fabrics. This fabric here on these 4 star points is different and really blends with our background. And if you notice, these are all Tula Pink fabrics because I'm like Tula obsessed. These are some of her older fabrics. But I blended these kind of in the same colorway because that makes this part of the star kind of recede into the background and makes this star kind of pop out. And it's almost a friendship star. If we turned it on its point there, it would look more like a friendship star. But that's kind of what that idea was to make this part of the star really pop out at me. So I chose colors that were in this fabric, but I just went like completely opposite of the purples and magentas and stuff that were in there. And that's our Sawtooth Star. So I hope you like that one. And here's another Sawtooth Star. Now with this one, I did it kind of like this last one in that I made these fabrics the same as their star points. And then these 4 are different. However, these fabrics that make up the star are all very similar in value. Same colors. These are all from the same collection. So they really kind of blended. At first look, you don't even notice that these are different fabrics, even though they are. And then when you look closer, you go, oh, those are the same. Those are the same. That's something different from all the rest. And then, of course, we have the pink in the background. Again, I chose a pink that was a really small scale floral, so it kind of reads as a solid, especially from a distance. So that's another Sawtooth Star. That would be great for a summer quilt. I think when I see this one, I see it in a quilt with kind of some white sashing and maybe a white border thrown out on the lawn for a picnic, that kind of thing. I think that would be pretty. And then here is one. Now, actually, we're gonna put that one aside for just a second, and I'll show you this one first. This is our Inspired Star, our Lemoyne, our Hunter, our Puritan, whatever you want to call it. That's what this one is. And in this one, I used a pretty wild print, right, for my background. And I used a grunge, a Moda grunge, and this kind of geometric print here for my star. And I love how that turned out. This fabric just makes me very happy. And so I loved it. And I had used this on a different quilt that I made. In fact, I used all 3 of these on a different quilt. It's actually hanging on the wall in my dining room right now. So I didn't have a lot of this. I had just enough to do this one extra block, but I love this fabric. It makes me very happy. So that's our Inspired Star. Now, this Inspired Star, I did a shorts video on this. And boy, you guys, can you tell right away what's wrong with this? if you can tell, I want you to pop in the info right in the comments. I would love to hear if you can tell me exactly what's going on with this one, because there's definitely something wrong with this one. Okay, it's right here. I totally botched this up, didn't I? And put these in the wrong place. So my question in the shorts video was, would you change it? Would you go back and fix it? Now, my grandmother taught me not to worry about these things because, as I've said before, there's nothing perfect in this world. And she would just say, leave it. Put it in a more unobscured place, or a more obscure place in the quilt, and don't worry about it. So my question to you was, what would you do? Would you fix it? Are you telling me to go back and take this all apart and fix it, or leave it alone? And you guys were really honest with me. Some of you said it would bug you so much that you would have to fix it, or it would just drive you to distraction. And some of you said, no, absolutely leave it. Hi, Rose. One of the center blocks is off. You're right, Rose. It's that center block and that block that are off. You're exactly right. That's exactly what's going on there. And some of you said that leave it is a happy accident. I like that phrase, happy accident. I don't know how many accidents I've had that have been happy, but I get that idea. I like that phrase. So, and believe it or not, the answers that came back were split just about 50-50. About half of you said you'd leave it, and about half of you said you wouldn't be able to handle it left alone and you'd have to fix it. So I think that is perfect. That shows us how many different quilters think the same and differently. We all have our own thoughts. And so, Rose, you would fix it unless it was already in the whole quilt top. I understand that. I do understand that. And Sandy says, love the black. Oh, thank you, Sandy. Thank you. Oh, you have a name, block builder. Ooh, I would fix the block because it would bother you. See, so we have like a 50-50 thing going on there. So I get it. I will tell you, this block is old. This is all Kimberbell fabric, because I love her fabric just about as much as I love Tulip Pink. And so I have tons of it. You'll see it a lot in my blocks. And so I made this one probably 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I'm going to be honest with you. And I've left it. And I use it to ask that question when I teach this particular 8-point star. But if I put this in a quilt, I personally would leave it alone. It might end up on the back of the quilt, but I would leave it alone for sure. Thank you, Sandy, for your kind words. That's lovely. Thank you so much. That means the world to me. So in this particular inspired star, we can say this one was a little extra inspired. How's that? Does that work for everybody? Okay. All right. So we're going to set that one aside. Now I'll show you, we did the album star, or the album block. This was one of the other free supplements for the month. It's not a star at all. It's completely different. But it's another one of those great filler blocks, because you can see as it would go out this way and through here, you could get secondary patterns in your quilt. I love how blocks make secondary patterns in quilts. And again, it has that nice diamond and a square where you could put a piece of applique there if you wanted to. Now, there is another block, and I showed this one. It might have been in a shorts video. I showed it. I don't remember, but I showed this one. This is kind of, you might call it a windmill. You might call it a spinning star. You might call it an expanded pinwheel, because the center is the pinwheel. But so it's just like the sawtooth star, except, or it's just like the inspired star, except out here in your corners, instead of having a solid block, I put a half square triangle, which extended out to kind of give it that spinning look. And these are all, these two fabrics are from the same collection. This is from another collection, but it worked in so beautifully there that I added those together. I don't always use the same fabrics from the same collections. I just kind of do whatever I think I like that goes together. But I love that one. And then here is another one done in totally different types of fabrics. that same idea where this part gives you that spinning look. So that windmill, or I've always thought of this more as a spinning star, but I have seen it called the windmill star before as well. So here I used the bigger print. I used a very soft, almost monotone print here, which works as that solid that reads, or print that reads as solid. And the same here, this kind of a bubble. This, although it looks like a batik, is not a batik. It's just a cotton quilting fabric, but it kind of has a little bit of that batik look to it, doesn't it? So that one I love. Now I have another one to show you, and I hope this one inspires you to get out there and do something different with these blocks. So I'm coming back because this one's big and I have to hold it up. So the center of this is our sawtooth star. Do you see it? There's the sawtooth star. And I took half square triangles, except for my outer 4 corners where I just made those the solid blocks. I put in half square triangles all the way around it that made it kind of look like that star is radiating out. So I call this my radiance star, because it kind of looks like it's radiating out from that center. But the center block, the main center block, is our sawtooth. What do you guys think of that one? And all of those fabrics are from the same collection except for the white. I just chose a white that I had in my stash, but all of the rest of those are from a collection, and all the rest of those are actually from a charm pack. And I have made this particular star. So this one right here is like 24 by 24, so it's a pretty good size. But I've also made this star bigger. I've got one right over on my design board right now that's 36 by 36 plus a couple of small borders. It's going to get quilted and turned into a baby quilt or a wall quilt. I'm not sure. One of the first things you're going to see in the upcoming new vlog is my doing a baby quilt. I've got 3 weeks to do that baby quilt, which should be enough time. But that's going to be coming up in the vlog. So I want you to try and do things like this. Make yourself a bunch of those squares and sit down and play with them. And I think, Rose, it was you that did something like this and shared a bunch of pictures with me, which I still need to get in here and show. I might just do a whole little video on all those beautiful pictures you showed me, Rose, and just put it out there because they were gorgeous and I think everybody should see them. Rose says, I like the large star, great for a table. Yes, this is perfect for a table topper. We actually have a square dining room table now. After having a round one for decades, we have a square one. So that would be perfect as a table topper on our dining room table now for sure. It's a good size. That 24 by 24 is a good size because I might even put a tiny little border, like a 1.5-inch border on it or something. So I get out there, take those. You've got those patterns now. Take them and play with them and come up with great things. Be your own designer because you guys have it in you to do that for sure. Alrighty, so I just mentioned the vlog, and so far I'm just calling it Quilt With Me, the vlog, because each vlog entry will be something different. It'll be, you know, my picking out my fabrics, blah, blah, whatever I name it, and then it'll be the vlog so you'll know. And that first vlog is coming out this week, and I got a lot of great feedback from you guys about the vlog coming out. So look forward to that later in the week. Now, the vlog will be short pieces. Some of them will be longer pieces because they're really more stream of consciousness for me in my process and how I make my quilts. A lot of you wanted to know that, and I thought, well, let me do little video clips and put them together into some sort of a video vlog for you guys, and you can see it instead of me trying to like explain it to you, right? So that's coming. The first one's coming this week. Alrighty, are you guys ready to see the pattern? Because I know a couple of you already saw it because I got messages, because it's been out on the website since yesterday. I just got it done and put it out there. It's easier to do that. I'm going to share my screen with you now because here comes the picture. This is the quilt pattern that I came up with for this month. I hope you guys are seeing it. I'm getting a blue, hang on. Yeah, you should be. Okay, good. I was getting I call it the blue wheel of death. It was just spinning. I wanted to make sure you were getting it. So this is one colorway that I did, this lavender and yellow, a butter yellow, and the white. This quilt design, if you make it, comes out with the sashing and borders 73 by 73. So it's a nice size sofa quilt. It's a great quilt for a child. It could be even just kind of a quilt to lay on top of your bed if you just want to kind of have something on top that you take off at night and then you sleep under a heavier blanket or something. So it's beautiful. That'd be a beautiful wall hanging if you have a nice big wall to put that on. But it'll be 73 by 73 when it's finished. And I only used the 3 main stars that we've talked about this month. I didn't use any of those extra stars like the heart or the album block. So here's our inspired star, here's our Ohio star, and here's our sawtooth star. So the instructions and all are out there for you to get all of the information, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute. So that's colorway 1, the lavender. Here's colorway 2. So that has my favorite color with that butter yellow and white and cream. And that's this lovely light minty aqua green. I love that one. I really do. And then here is colorway number 3 with kind of that almost a denim royalish blue to it. I really that one to me might be the one I make, but I'm not going to choose which one I make until you guys vote. So right now, do you like colorway 3? And you just have to put the number in the comment. 3, 2, or 1. So this is 1 here, the lavender, the minty aqua is 2, and the blue is 3. And you tell me which one you like in the comments, because I'm going to end up making this and I'll probably do it in the vlog and then you guys can see how it turned out. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen at the moment. We'll come back. There we go. So you tell me which one you like, the 1, the 2, or the 3. And whatever one gets the most votes, that's the colorway I'll make, because I have a really nice big wall in my dining room and it'll be gorgeous in there. So to get your pattern, you have to, of course, go to the website. But here's the deal. Only those of you that are watching today will know this, or that watch the video in the next few days will know this. Out on the website, it's listed at $5, which is really reasonable for a quilt pattern. But if you guys use the coupon code April23quilt, so if when you check out, you'll type that in. If you type that in, you'll get the pattern for free. Because I always do some sort of a giveaway on at the Q&A live. And this month, again, because it's my birthday, I wanted to give you guys this pattern for free, all of you that follow and watch. So you'll have to know about this, and you have through April 30th to get it for free. So you've got this whole next week through the 30th, which I think the 30th is Sunday, to go out there, use your coupon code, and grab your quilt pattern for free. After that, it will go back to the regular $5 price. Okay. So thank you all so much for joining this month in April and making all these beautiful stars. So I hope to see some of those quilts made. Now, I will say this about the quilt. Let's take that off for a second. Let's go back. Let me share again with you really quickly. There we go. If you look at these, you could break this down. If you don't want to do a full 73 by 73, if you just did your 4 stars in the center with this, what is sashing here, which could become your border, you could make a smaller quilt. And remember, each one of these squares is 15 by 15, so you get a nice 36 by 36 just doing the center 4 with the border on it. Okay, if you wanted to make something smaller. Here's also the scenario, and I tell you this in the instructions. I've laid this out specifically, but if you wanted to do only the inspired star, only the Ohio star, or only the sawtooth star, you could make every one of these stars just one of the stars. Or you could mix and match them. Any of those 15-inch star blocks will work beautifully with that pattern. Okay, so you don't have to do it in that same order, but if you do, then you're going to turn out with that beautiful quilt as you see it there. So got some more comments here. Let's take a look. Oh, you're welcome, Rosemary. I like it. Colorway 3 is the most striking. Color 2 is good. Don't care for 1. Not enough contrast. Okay, Sandy, great information there. Rosemary likes the yellow and lavender. See, we all think differently. Thank you for the free pen. And you're welcome, Sandy. And thank you for the birthday wishes. Thank you so much. It's not hard being in your 60s, ladies, I will tell you. I don't know how old you all are, but I'm in my 60s, and it's not hard. I love being in my 60s. Somebody told me, gosh, you seem more like you're in your 30s or 40s. And I'm like, good, because that's what I feel like. So, you'll do great. No matter how you feel, you'll do great, as long as you have that good mindset. And quilters usually do. We're usually kind of pretty good about thinking about life that way. Thanks for sharing your designs and your knowledge. Thank you, Rosemary. That's very nice. Rose. Sorry, I know you like to be called Rose. All righty. So the pattern is at Sew Uncommon. There is your coupon code, and it's good through the end. It's good through the end of next Sunday. I won't take it off until sometime Monday morning. So, if it slips past midnight, you guys will be okay, because I won't take it off till Monday for sure. Monday, the 1st of May. So very good. All right, guys. So I showed you Inspired Stars. I showed you the cross stitch. We talked about the video coming out this week with the offset half square triangle. And I showed you this month's beautiful quilt pattern. I really love that quilt pattern. I enjoyed putting that one together. Sometimes quilt patterns for me take me a long time, but I knew I was working with these 3 beautiful star blocks this month, and I really loved it. All righty. So I am going to open the floor up. You don't look like you're just, thank you. Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate that. Can I tell you, 4 years ago, I was literally on my deathbed. I have some weird form of anemia that the hematologist said, we've never seen this in anybody, but my body just stopped absorbing iron, just stopped. And they think it might be because I went through a really horrific trauma a couple years prior to that. And so they had to give me a blood transfusion, like a big one. And I got my health right back. I'm great. I run every morning, super good. But I have to get an iron infusion every 3 months. And I think it is like giving me part of my youth back. So anyway, I feel great. And thank you for the kind compliments. I love it. So you never know what we go through in this world, do you? No, that idea of walking a mile in somebody's shoes, I think it should be more like 10 miles in somebody's shoes. Anyway, thank you all so much, ladies. So any questions at all? I know there's some of you out there that might have a few. We'll give you a couple moments there. And yeah, oh, I dropped one of my carrots. I had my spring carrots out. If you guys are interested, these are Kimberbell carrots. You can get the pattern at their website. It's just a little single pattern, but I have a video on the website that shows you how to finish these, because their single pattern on their website came from an older, larger pattern, and some of the instructions weren't quite put together in a format that was easy to follow how to do the finishing. So I did a quick finishing video on those. I think it's called the Kimberbell Carrot. So if you're interested, if you've got that and you've been wondering, that video is out there for you to check that out. But you will have to go to the Kimberbell site to purchase their little carrot pattern. I just love these. I made them I made the rainbow carrots because I just thought they were so stinking cute. I made these a couple of years ago. Or maybe it was last year. Don't remember. All right. So it doesn't look like we have any questions. That's fine. Like I said, I didn't know if we would this time or not because of how crazy things have been. If you need to contact me, you can do that at my email address, diana@sewuncommon.com. You can post your photographs or ask questions over at our Facebook page, Sew Uncommon. And you can get all of the patterns, the free block of the months, and the quilt pattern at sewuncommon.com. And now you know what's coming next, right? Should we all say it together? I'm listening. What? That's right. Go sew life beautiful, everybody. Go make some beautiful quilt blocks and a beautiful quilt. I hope at least one of you makes that quilt, because I would love to see photographs of it. And I will show it to everybody because I think it's a pretty quilt, and I think you guys are all really good at that and will do it. Let me just see here. I might have, nope. Okay. I thought I might have a question on Facebook, but it looks like it was for something else. So we will just say Sew Life Beautiful for now, everybody. And we'll see you. You'll see a video in the week, which is our bonus. And you'll see kind of a mystery video for next Sunday. Bye for now, everybody. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Take care.